What's up, you guys? My name is Preston James here at the Laughing Buddha Recording Studio, bringing you another amazing record review. Actually, I was gonna say album review, but we are doing a record review today. We are doing the 5 categories in the Grammys, before the Grammys, that I had talked about in my previous video. I know it's been a minute. Sorry for those of you who have watched my other videos. A lot of things going on here at the studio and in life with the holidays, but things are back on track, better than ever. We're gonna get ready for these Grammys coming up, and I'm gonna go over 5 different categories. I'm gonna go over today, record of the year. We're gonna go over producer of the year, album of the year, and songwriter of the year. Wait, is that 4? Songwriter of the year? And then, I don't know, is it? And finally, best engineered album of the year. So I don't know how many is that? Record of the year, songwriter, producer, album, best engineered, right? Those 5. Okay. Anyways, so we're gonna get into those, but today we're gonna do record of the year. Thanks for sticking with me. Appreciate the love and support, you guys. Come check us out, Laughing Buddha Recording Studio. Sound's getting better. Sonics are just coming in smooth, clean. Ooh, we're getting nice and crisp over here. I'm loving it, loving it, loving it. We taking steps and monuments every day. All right, let's get into it. All right, so first, who do we have for record of the year? You know what? I'm just gonna go over the artist and then we'll break it down. So first we have Sabrina Carpenter for Espresso, and then we have oh wait, you know what? Before I do that, sorry. So before I do that, I want to tell you what the difference is between record of the year and song of the year. The only difference is that for record of the year, it talks about the artist. It lists the artist, the producer, the engineers, and that's it. The songwriter is not involved. So literally that is for song of the year, right? It actually made sense when I thought about it. Not sure why I didn't know this, but now I do. And now you do too. And maybe you already knew. But anyways, so that's what that is. Record of the year is everybody basically except for the songwriter. And then song is everybody. Nobody but the songwriter, just the songwriter. So hope that makes sense. All right, so first, Sabrina Carpenter, Espresso. We love that sound. Come on, it's a new, different pop sound. I like it a lot. It's new to my ears. It's got some grit to it. A little saturation for those of you who know what that is. With making records, there's a lot of saturation and just like bite to those to that whole record and album. Then we have Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish. We have Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar and Mustard. We have Good Luck Babe by Chappelle Rowan, which I do like her. She's coming up. I loving her stuff. We have Fortnite by Taylor Swift. My girl Taylor's always in there. Okay. My girl Beyonce for Texas Hold'em. Ooh, Beyonce revving it up. Then we have Now and Then with the artist with the Beatles, which I thought was kind of crazy. The Beatles. Why are the Beatles in record of the year? Well, because it's the first AI assisted song that they've done, like basically with all AI. They took the song and re-recorded it and did all these things to it artificially. So obviously it wasn't the band, right? So that's interesting. First AI song in the Grammys. Kind of scary for us producers and engineers out there. We knew something like this was coming down the pipe, but weren't sure what that was going to look like. And I guess we'll find out. So if you haven't listened to that song, check it out. The Beatles are amazing. It sounds good. I don't really know the details and the nitty gritty of what was and wasn't AI, but I know that the song sounds good. So check that out when you get a chance. And then finally, lastly, but definitely not least is, oh my God, what am I missing the song? Charlie XCX for the song 360. Right. All right. So now let's start with Sabrina Carpenter. And what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the engineers and the producer and the artist. What are they up for? Why are they up for this record of the year? Well, as I was going through these, I realized a lot of these, not necessarily producers, but more so mastering engineers, because there's less mastering engineers than there are mixing engineers or producers. A lot of them work within the same realm of people. And so it's a great thing, but it's also a hard thing for people like myself and other engineers trying to come up in the world, where it's just a tough industry, right? It's just tough to get into. So when these people that are dominating the industry are taking all the big artists and staying there and being in rotation with them, it's hard to kind of work your way in there. But it's definitely possible. And Kendrick Lamar actually did it for a mixing engineer, which I'm going to put him on in a second, which I was really happy to see. I love what he's doing across the board. Yeah, really love what he's doing from top to bottom, really. So, but yes, the mastering engineers. So it's a hard world to get into, and they're all kind of connected, more or less, is what I realized doing some digging on this in my previous album reviews. But anyways, also, and I know I've talked about this too, with the mastering engineers, a lot of these studios say that they master. And it's not necessarily that they don't master, they do master, but I believe truly, for the sake of science, for the craft of mixing and mastering and artistry, for the art of music, if it was me, if I was a rapper or a singer or in a band, I would do it the way that it needs to be done, with different ears per se, more or less, is I would take it to a mixing engineer, and then I would have the mixing engineer recommend a mastering engineer, which a lot of mixers and masters work together, right? Because if they work with the same artist or the same content and material, then they're kind of linked. And so I've also kind of seen that chain and connection as well with mix engineers who use the same mastering engineers, specifically or especially within the same genres of music. So, but yes, mastering engineers is the last step. So if you are out there and you are an artist and you are looking to get your stuff mastered, look for a specific mastering engineer. Not to take away from anybody or any studio who's doing mastering as well, but I would recommend going to an actual mastering engineer who specifically specializes in mastering. That's what they do. I could master your stuff, but I'm not a mastering engineer. I am a mixing engineer and recording engineer. I am not a mastering engineer. So hopefully that makes sense, showing some love and support for our mastering engineers out there that are up for these awards, especially, and well-deserved. So Sabrina Carpenter, Espresso. This song, obviously Sabrina Carpenter. The producer is Julian Bonita. And he's worked with Teddy Swims, One Direction, and he collaborated on this whole album, or he collaborated on this song with the songwriter Amy Allen. If you don't know Amy Allen, this girl is taking pop by storm and has been for a while. She's worked with Pink, Selena Gomez, Justin Timberlake, who is that? Jonas Brothers, Leon Bridges, NSYNC, Olivia Rodrigo, and Harry Styles, just to name a few. She's worked with everybody, you guys. Amy Allen is definitely a name that's behind the scenes that needs to get credit, and well-deserved too. She does a lot of good work, obviously, and she's working with these top-notch artists and just coming through the scene with this incredible songwriting skills. So Julian Bonita is up for the producer for this song, and the mixing engineer is also Julian Bonita and Jeff Gunnell. So he not only produced it, but he also mixed it as well, which is great too, because he definitely knows his own sound and his music, right? So that would go good with the mixing as well. So I think that's a great idea. Not always, but when it works out, it works out. And obviously it worked out. So I couldn't find the recording engineer for this specific song. There wasn't information on it, but I saw that it was recorded in a few different spots. So it was recorded in France at Flow Studios. It was recorded in at The Perch in Calabasas, California, and The Nest in Nashville, Tennessee. So 3 different locations. That's not necessarily uncommon, but it's not the most common thing either. But definitely not uncommon, because a lot of these big artists are always doing stuff, right? They're always on the move, so they have to record in different places. They got to make sure they have the same gear, the same setup, right? Create that consistency everywhere from the microphone down to the gear to the software that's being used in the computer digitally. So that's very important, and I think that's cool that she was able to record this in 3 different locations and still get that amazing sound that she got. So, and that's definitely not a cheap way to do it, but she killed it. You know, she's been making her way up the ranks for a while now. So shout out Sabrina Carpenter, doing her thing, killing it. And her Christmas special on Netflix was really good too, not a paid promotion. So yes, recorded at 3 different places. And finally, the mastering engineer was Nathan Dantzler. Dantzler has done Toby Mac, Gwen Stefani, Luke Bryan, Teddy Swims, just to name a few. And his assistant mastering engineer was Harrison Tate. Got to give a shout out to the assistant mastering engineers, as well as the assistant mixing engineers. Want to make sure they get some love. They're trying to make their way through the ranks as well. So whenever I see their name or I see that they're on there, I will definitely give them a shout out to help them, give them a little boost. We can all spread the love. Got to spread the love. Got to support one another. And there's room for everybody. I feel like people knock on other engineers, not even engineers, and producers and just other people in general, not even just in music, but just in general, because I feel like they're not going to get there if someone else is already getting there or putting in the work and doing it. So they're just hating on them. But for what? There's enough room. And if you want to do it, do the work, put the work in, right? You may not move as fast as another person, but that's okay too. And if you're doing this stuff, you should be doing it because you love it. I know that Quincy Jones had wrote and talked about, maybe didn't write it, but he definitely talked about how he never made music for profit. That is to say, his mindset wasn't, let me write a piece of music so I can make a bunch of money. No, he said it came from the soul and he wanted to make music. So his intention was never there with a dollar sign next to it. And for me, I truly believe that's why, or one of the reasons he's very successful, was because he had that pure intention behind all of that, if that makes sense. And then you get stuff like Thriller. I mean, come on, what? That's just, all right. So number 2 for record of the year is Texas Hold'em by Beyonce. Ooh, my girl Beyonce coming through. I didn't get a chance to see the Christmas special either, but I know it's on Netflix. God, I'm saying Netflix twice. But I do want to check that out. So Beyonce, Texas Hold'em, artist Beyonce, producer. She had a few producers on this one. She had Hit Boy, Nate Ferraro, Raphael Sadiq, Killa B, Stuart White, Meryl Gomez, and yeah, that's the last one. Mariel Gomez. Sorry if I mispronounce these names. I always say that. But she had a few producers on this album. Obviously, we know Hit Boy. Hit Boy is like the #1 hip hop and rap producer in the industry right now and has been for a while. And he's amazing. Recording engineer was Stuart White again, and Alex Nibley. Alex Nibley, as well as Hote Alexander Jang was the other. So it's 3 recording engineers. Now, if you follow Beyonce closely, you know that Stuart White is her mixing engineer, period, end of story. He does everything. Not necessarily all of her recording, but all of her mixing. He just posted how he did the mixing for her halftime show for Christmas as well, the one that's on Netflix. And he was just talking about also how he just did like basic EQ and some like saturation, some stuff for harmonics, and just very subtle things. And I thought that's coming from someone like that, who's the best in the world, literally working with the best in the world, was cool to hear. It's always fascinating to hear how they work with these artists and their content, their material, their projects, and how simple they make it sound sometimes. But Stuart White, best in the world. I got a chance, fortunate enough to see him talk at NAMM, the North American Music Merchants Conference last year here in Anaheim, California, which was really great. He, super nice dude. I met him for a very brief second. Very nice dude, down to earth, and really good at his craft. A little background, a little context for him is he was Alicia Keys' is Alicia Keys' personal engineer before Beyonce's. I know that Young Guru, who is Jay-Z's engineer and on the road DJ, I think. I don't know if he still does that, but I'm pretty sure he does. But he was also at the NAMM conference with Stuart, by the way. But no, he said that Stuart White used to work with him and assist him with certain mixes with big artists. And then eventually kind of just took his own road. Like I said, went to Alicia Keys as her personal engineer, and then now is Beyonce's personal engineer. And that's as big as it gets. And that's one of the biggest dreams for us, right? At least for someone like me, is I want to work with a big artist that I can build a relationship with and know how to do the things that they want for their music. And so, everybody gets paid, everyone's doing what they love, and they have a good relationship going, and you get great music out of it, right? Great stuff. So yes, that is Beyonce's Texas Hold'em. And finally, the last one, is the mastering engineer is Colin Leonard. I've talked about Colin Leonard before on some of my album reviews, but he's done Justin Bieber, Victoria Monet, which she won Best Engineered Album last year. So he was part of that collective or that team that won Best Engineered Album for Victoria Monet's Jaguar 2 last year at the Grammys. He's worked with Cardi B, Bad Bunny, and Her, H-E-R, just to name a few. I'm not going to go through and name all the people some of these people have worked with because it's a long list, but I named some of the top artists and people that they've worked with. So coming in number three on our list is Charlie XCX, the song 360. I have not listened to this album. I haven't had a chance. That's not true. I've had a chance. I haven't had a chance to really sit down and get into it. I've listened to it a couple times, just kind of in passing and just kind of throwing it on. My vibe was like, I need to sit down and really listen to this. So I haven't done that yet. So maybe I will before the actual Grammys. I did listen to this song though. It is a good song. And the album, people rave about this album. Brat, they love it. So that's why I want to sit down and really listen to it and kind of break it apart, deconstruct it for myself, for my own audio engineer ears. So the producers for this were Finn Keen, A.G. Cook, Circuit, and Charlie XCX. She did some of her own production, which I love. I love when artists partake in all their stuff from top to bottom. I love it. Circuit was also the recording engineer for this song. He's my age, he's 38, born a day before me, April 23rd, in Canada. But he's worked with Fifth Harmony, Nicki Minaj, Juicy J, Becky G, Katy Perry, Kesha, Britney Spears, and just to name a few again. But Circuit, he's definitely solidified in the music industry for engineering and producing. I think mostly producing, but did a great job on this album. Mix engineers for this, Manny Marroquin. Now, if you haven't heard that name or heard me talk about him, which if you've watched my other videos, you have, Manny Marroquin is the guy. He is the guy in the music industry next to Jason Joshua and a few others, Stuart White, obviously, and there's a bunch of others, but Manny Marroquin is the main guy. He has worked with Kendrick Lamar, Tupac, Rihanna, Usher, Kanye, Linkin Park, Taylor Swift, Tyler, Creator, Justin Bieber, Imagine Dragons, and that's just to name a very few. This dude has worked with every single person. He runs a studio here in LA called Larrabee Studios, and from what I've seen, it looks really nice, but he's the man. Everybody loves him too. So watch some videos on him. Watch how he breaks down how he works with artists and engineers and album recording and mixing, specifically mixing. It's pretty cool. But so Manny Marroquin did the mixing for Charlie XCX 360. The mastering engineer for this song was Randy Merrill. Randy Merrill. I've talked about him before as well. He's worked with Silk Sonic, Yebba, Harry Styles, and Taylor Swift. Again, just to name a few. But this dude's killing it too. I keep seeing this guy's name and a lot of artists that I research for this and just in general when I'm looking up other mixing engineers and looking at techniques and things like that. Because I'm constantly researching, right? This craft is just never ending in a sense of like knowledge and science and art and craft. It's always evolving. There's always stuff to learn. You're never going to know everything. And I always come back to my basics, my foundational skills. When I work with kids as a teacher, I also have told them that your foundational skills, like you need to build your foundational skills before anything else. And sharpening those skills never hurts in any way. When I did jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, which I did Muay Thai for 13 years, but jiu-jitsu, one of the guys told me that the best dudes in the world were the best in the world, or are the best in the world, because they stick to basics. That's it. It's the basic fundamental foundational skills of jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And that's why they're the best. They got really good at those foundational skills. So I try to remind myself of that when I'm doing engineering or production or anything. So moving on to song number 4. Song number 4 is Birds of a Feather by our girl, Billie Eilish. So yes, producer Phineas, her brother, of course, most of us know that, who follow Billie or the music industry closely. John Castelli, he is the mix engineer. I've wanted to see him talk at NAMM, but he hasn't been there the last couple years, so I'd love to see him talk. I've watched some of his videos, but he's worked with a bunch of different people like SZA, Harry Styles, Summer Walker, Khaled, just to name a few. Obviously, the list goes on, but John Castelli is definitely a known face in the mixing world or realm. So assistant mix engineer for this was Brad Lochert, I think. So he was the assistant mixing engineer. Like I said, I like to put those people on as well. The recording engineer was Phineas. He did his own recording and production, which I think is great. They have this whole brother-sister bond system going on, which has worked flawlessly for them since day one. So good for them. That's an awesome thing to have. And mastering engineer was Dale Becker. He's done 2 of the albums that I've talked about here on this channel. So he's not going anywhere. He's in the game. But it also said Katie Harvey and Noah McCorkle, who also participated in the mastering process for the song Birds of a Feather. But Dale Becker's worked with Jesse Murph, Polo G, Six Black, The Kid Leroy, and Doja Cat, again, just to name a few. So Dale Becker is definitely solidified in the scene as a go-to mastering engineer. Number 5 on our list, which I think is going to take it, and that is Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar, number 5. So obviously, Kendrick Lamar is the artist. The producer is Mustard, DJ Mustard. Recording engineer is Ray Charles Brown Jr. Now, I didn't do deep dive into him. I don't know if he's related to actually Ray Charles. I'm assuming so because he's in music and that's his name, but I don't know that. Maybe you do. But he's worked with SZA and Beyonce and Future, just to name a few. So he definitely is an engineer who's, like I said, he did the recording, is coming up because I haven't heard that name before. So what I really liked about Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us, specifically when I was doing this research, was that he put on people. So like that Ray Charles Brown Jr., never heard of him, but Kendrick Lamar could have gone to anybody, but he put this dude on to help him make the climb, which I love. And for the mixing engineer, this dude named Jonathan Turner. This guy, I think he's from Atlanta initially or originally. But this dude, I looked him up, super young, couldn't find any information on him, just on his Instagram. Dude looks super young. He's worked with Kendrick before. He's also worked with Doechii. I'm sorry. He's also worked with some other artists, but the fact that he's working with Kendrick Lamar and he's this young and Kendrick's putting him on is just, it's huge. So shout out Jonathan Turner for making the climb and doing your thing. This song, Not Like Us, sounds awesome, bro. You did a great job. Also, lastly, the mastering engineer for this song was Nicholas De Porcel. This dude's all over the map as well. I keep seeing his name, hearing his name, but he's worked with Doechii, Big Sean, Future, Killer Mike, YG, again, just to name a few. And he, like I said, I see his name everywhere. But these engineers, mastering and mixing, like I said, if they have a connection with an artist or they know each other, mixing engineers will usually stick to a mastering engineer that they trust and they know will, A, does good business, and B, has a good sound, right? Does good business, like is on time, delivers the deliverables on time, and has a phenomenal sound to that mixer's ear. So if the mixer likes it, then they're going to stick with that mastering engineer. So yes. And the next song, number 6, I am flying through these. Hopefully you guys are keeping up. I move fast. That's what we do. Good Luck Babe by Chappelle Rowan. Don't know much about her, but I do know that she had at Lollapalooza this year or last summer, I believe, or no, we're in 2025. So 2024, she had the single largest crowd at a Lollapalooza Fest, which is in Chicago. She had the single largest crowd of all time. Chappelle Rowan did. Crazy. So I had to check her song out, right? I had to check her people out. But the song Good Luck Babe, she got a very good sound, poppy, punchy, good, smooth. Oh, it feels good. It feels very lively. Like I want to move. I want to keep going. She's got this really good energy to her. So yeah. Daniel Nigro he was the producer. Daniel Nigro. Mixing was Mitch McCarthy. And the mastering was Randy Merrill again. Like I said, and he did, what was it? Randy Merrill. I just said Randy Merrill. I think he did, he did Charlie XCX's 360. So that's what I'm saying. See, these names keep popping up. So that dude's up for 2 off the bat. From the jump, this dude is up for 2 Grammys already. So his odds are looking good and better than other people. So that's awesome. Daniel Nigro has worked with Chappelle Rowan is a big name. And then Olivia Rodrigo is the other big name that I saw that he was associated with as her producer as well. And Mitch McCarthy for the mixing has worked also with Olivia Rodrigo, LP from LP and Killer Mike from the amazing, talented group Run the Jewels. If you haven't heard Run the Jewels, run that shit right now. And he's also worked, Mitch McCarthy has also worked with Willow, who is Will Smith's daughter, who Willow is dope, by the way. If you haven't heard Willow, she's dope. And he's also worked with Madison Beer. She's really good too. She's a pop singer, up and coming, been around for a little minute, but she's really good too, Madison Beer. So he's worked with a few people. And again, the mastering engineer is Randy Merrill, which we've already talked about. So number 7, and there's 8 of them. There's 8. So number 7 is Fortnite with Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is the artist. Producer was Taylor Swift, Jack Antonoff, Luis Bell, who was the vocal producer, right? Some of these artists have vocal production or producers on board. They have an actual producer for like the song and the arrangement and things like that. But then they also have an actual vocal producer who guides them on like keys, notes, all that kind of thing, just to kind of go through the song a little bit better and smoother. But mixing, Serban Genya. I've talked about him before. He doesn't do interviews. Nobody knows what he uses or works with. He's very secretive. I know he started out on the East Coast, but he is the best in the industry from what people say. From any engineer that I've heard, talk to, listen to, speak publicly or in videos or whatever, they've said that Serban Genya is the best, period, end of story. So, and he does all of Taylor Swift's mixing for the most part. And he works with, I know he works with Ariana Grande and a couple other people for the most part, but he's always booked out, right? Someone like that, always booked out. But again, for the mastering for this Taylor Swift Fortnite song, Randy Merrill. This dude is up for 3 mastering nominations for Record of the Year. And that's not even including all the other nominations he's probably listed on, because he's just a workhorse and he's killing the game in the mastering engineering world. So good for him, killing it. But for the recording, so the recording on this, pretty extensive. So recording for Fortnite was Sean Hutchinson, Michael Riddleberger, Lauren Marquez, Jack Manning, John Shear, Ollie Jacobs, Laura Sisk, and Luis Bell as well. So Luis Bell did some of the vocal production, and she did some of the recording, or he did some of the recording as well. So that's a pretty long list of recording engineers. So I'm assuming that's because of instrumentation. I know that Taylor Swift likes to use actual instruments instead of VST, like plugins or virtual instruments. She'll use actual instruments. That's not all the time, but she does. And that's probably what that is, in accordance with who was recording what and how that took place. So, and lastly, but not least, for our final song for Record of the Year is Now and Then by the Beatles. So producer Paul McCartney, Giles Martin, and Jeff Lynne. Mix engineer was Mark Spike Stent. Mark Spike Stent did a little research. Mark Spike Stent, he did albums like The Fame Monster by Lady Gaga. He did a Frank Ocean album. He did Raymond vs. Raymond, the Usher album. He did a Taylor Swift. He did the Taylor Swift Red album. He did an Ed Sheeran album. He also did. There's one more he did that I was. Oh man, what was it? Bruce Springsteen album and Muse. Muse is awesome. If you haven't heard the band Muse, man, I haven't heard them in a while, but they're awesome. They're dope. So he's done a lot. Haven't heard his name before. I had to do a little research, but he's definitely done a lot. Been around the block. So he mixed this and other engineers. And this is also, these engineers also did Dolby Atmos, just to let you know. And Dolby Atmos is where basically when you go to a movie theater and you're watching a movie, that's in Dolby Atmos. It's all around you. Whereas like most mixing, like what I do here and mastering is just stereo. So you have left and right? What they would say is center, left and right, CLR. Center, left, and right. But Dolby Atmos is like multiple speakers around you. I don't know what the max or the minimum amount is, but it's multiple around you. Now, the average person is not going to notice this. You're not going to notice it in your car for the most part. The only way you would notice this is if someone like myself or somebody else told you it was there. Not every artist does this. It's a lot more expensive. I would love to know how to do it and learn that craft, that part of mixing, but I just don't have the money. It's very expensive to learn and to get done for your music, but it does increase the chances of your song or songs being put into a movie, right? Because then they wouldn't have to remix the song so that it could go into Dolby Atmos. Because if it's just stereo, they have to do some things basically to change it so that it can be part of the movie. Because that's the audio. So when I talk about some of these mixing engineers, a lot of them are also doing Dolby Atmos mixing. So that's not to be overlooked. It's a skill and craft in and of itself, like an additional layer to mixing by itself. So, but again, the average listener is not even gonna know what's happening or what's going on, because usually the average listener has their headphones in, it's on their phone or in their car, and possibly at home on their stereo speakers. So unless you're looking for it, you're not really gonna notice it. And then lastly, the other engineers who partook in this Now and Then Beatles AI rendition of this song was Steve Genowick, Steve Orchard, Greg McAllister, Jeff Emmerich, John Jacobs, Jingleheimer Schmidt, Bruce Sugar, and Keith Smith. And that's it. Those are the records for Record of the Year, the nominations for Record of the Year. Again, the difference is they have all the engineers, producers, and the artists, whereas the Song of the Year is just the artist and the songwriter. So I'm excited. I do not know who's going to win. I'm kind of pulling for Kendrick, but I also like Sabrina Carpenter's Espresso song, and of course, Beyonce. And Taylor. I like them all. I really do. Hopefully you guys tuned in. Please stay tuned for the next one. I'm going to do either, for the next video, it's either going to be, what did I say? It's going to be Best Engineered Album, Producer of the Year, Songwriter of the Year, or Album of the Year. So the Album of the Year one's going to be a little extensive, so hang in there. There's that. And the Best Engineered Album I'm really looking forward to. But anyway, so please show some love. Check out my videos. I really appreciate the love and support. Also, check out my podcast, The Reflection, on all podcast streaming platforms. Like I said, it's called The Reflection. You can find it on YouTube at @thereflection_PJ. And that is also done here at the Laughing Buddha Recording Studio here in Los Angeles, California. So any love and support would be much appreciated. I just put up an episode I did with a coworker. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to release another one on stoicism, living a stoic life in the next day or so. And yeah, so more to come. Love and appreciate your guys' support. Thank you for stopping by as always. Hopefully you find it useful. I know I talk fast. Hopefully you can hang in there. And Do what you got to do to get to where you want to be so you can do what you want to do. Chase your dreams, release your music, release your content, release your videos, release it all. Don't sit on it. Don't wait. The world is not stopping for nobody. So keep it moving, release your content. Love you guys. Be safe. Stay tuned. Laughing Buddha Recording Studio with Preston James. See you next time.